Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something I think almost everyone grapples with, especially if you're learning English: how to start conversations confidently. You know the feeling, right? You're somewhere, maybe networking, maybe just in line for coffee, you see someone interesting, and then boom, that knot in your stomach, your mind just goes blank. And all those questions start swirling. What do I even say? What if they don't get me? Or I mess up my grammar? What if they think I'm weird? Or the worst one, what if it's just awkward silence? Hmm. The irony is, you might have tons of vocabulary, you know your grammar, but in that moment, it all feels miles away. So, our mission today is to break down that barrier, give you the tools, the mindset shift, everything you need to just step forward.
Exactly. And this isn't just about, learning a few lines. It's deeper than that. We're looking at the psychology behind it, building a mental toolkit, mastering actual techniques that work, and maybe most importantly, just feeling comfortable being you when you speak English. We'll break it down into 5 key parts. Sorting out your mindset, building your conversation toolkit, looking at strategies that work in the real world, adapting to different places, and finally, making it all a habit.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Before we even get to the what to say part, we need to tackle that big internal block: the fear, the self doubt. Because, well, you can't build confidence on shaky ground, can you?
Right. And what's really fascinating here, something we see in cognitive psychology, is this confidence conundrum. People think confidence means not feeling scared, like they're waiting for this magic day when the nerves just vanish. But honestly, that day probably isn't coming. Real confidence, the kind resilient people have, isn't about not feeling fear. It's about being willing to act anyway. Think about great speakers, actors. They still get nervous. They just manage it. So don't aim to kill the anxiety. Aim to reframe it. Heart beating fast. Okay, that's energy. That means you're doing something brave. Use that energy to connect.
That's a really helpful way to look at it. But what about that fear of being judged? So many learners feel like every little mistake is under a huge spotlight. Is that the spotlight effect you mentioned?
Precisely. It's a classic cognitive bias. We massively overestimate how much other people are actually noticing us, our flaws, our mistakes. Truth is, most people are wrapped up in their own heads, worrying about themselves. And honestly, most native speakers, they're usually kind, patient. They're often just happy you're making the effort. They care about your message, not perfect grammar. Plus, native speakers yeah, they hesitate, they make mistakes all the time. It's normal. A good trick is to consciously turn that spotlight around. Get curious about them. Focus on the other person, and you'll have less brain space to worry about yourself.
That makes sense. And it ties into redefining what success even means in a conversation, doesn't it? Because if success is speak perfectly, no errors, fascinate the other person, well, that's setting yourself up for failure. How do we shift that?
Yeah, that old definition is just unrealistic. The sources we looked at really stress that a successful conversation is about connection. Simple as that. So a win could be just practicing a new phrase, or learning one interesting thing about someone, or making them smile. Heck, just starting the conversation is a win. If you chat for 30 seconds, ask a question, understand the answer, that's 100% success. You got to celebrate that small victory.
And crucial to that shift, especially coming from maybe an academic background, is truly embracing mistakes, seeing them as teachers, not failures. They're like evidence of effort, right? Data points for learning.
Totally. Every mistake you notice, or someone gently corrects, that actually strengthens the right pathway in your brain. You learn from it. So instead of thinking, ugh, wrong preposition, I'm so dumb, try, okay, interesting. They said at the weekend. I said on the weekend. Note that. It becomes useful feedback. Or if you pause for ages searching for a word, think, right, need to brush up on food vocabulary. It highlights where to focus. And seriously, learn to laugh it off. If you say something totally weird, just smile. Whoops, that wasn't right. Let me try again. It shows you're confident enough not to take yourself too seriously.
Okay, last bit on mindset. That inner voice. The power of a positive inner monologue. If that voice is constantly critical, it undermines everything before you even start. You need to train it to be more of a coach, yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it is trainable. It takes conscious effort. Replace the negative stuff. Instead of my accent's terrible, think my accent shows I speak more than one language. I'll speak clearly.
Yeah.
Instead of I have nothing interesting to say, try I'm curious. My goal is to find out what's interesting about them. Some sources even suggest things like a quick power pose, standing tall for 30 seconds. Sounds a bit silly, maybe, but studies show it can actually lower stress hormones and boost confidence hormones. Your mindset really is the foundation for everything else.
Okay, foundation laid. Mindset is getting rewired. But confidence isn't just in your head, right? It also comes from feeling prepared. Like a chef prepping ingredients. You need your conversational ingredients ready. Let's talk about building that arsenal.
Right. And what's really interesting, maybe the most underrated skill here, is active listening. Seems odd talking about listening when we want to speak, but think about it. Being a great listener is the secret to being a great conversationalist. Two things happen. One, the pressure's off you to constantly talk. Two, the other person literally gives you everything you need for follow-up questions. Active listening means you're really tuned in, not just waiting for your turn. Listen for keywords, emotions. Try to silence your own internal chatter for a bit. It changes everything.
And part of being prepared is having that small talk toolkit. Small talk gets a bad rap sometimes, doesn't it? But it's so essential.
It really is. It's the social grease. It bridges that gap from stranger to maybe something more. Think of it like having different compartments. You've got stuff about the immediate environment, the weather, the place you are, the food, then general, positive current events, movies, sports, festivals maybe. Hobbies are huge. People love talking about passions. Work or studies if it fits. Travel. Just as important is knowing what to steer clear of, though. Usually best to avoid politics, religion, money, personal health stuff, negative gossip. Keep it light and positive to start.
Okay, toolkit is getting stocked. But how do you keep the conversation actually moving? This brings us to mastering open-ended versus closed-ended questions. This feels crucial.
Oh, it's make or break sometimes. Closed-ended questions get you a yes, no, maybe one word. Do you like the music? Yes. And silence. Dead end. Open-ended questions need more thought, invite stories, opinions. They often start with who, what, where, when, why, how, or things like, tell me about a... So instead of having a good time, try, what's been the best part of your day so far? The rhythm is key. Ask an open question, really listen to the answer, then ask a follow-up based on what they said, or maybe share a very brief related thought of your own, like tossing a ball back and forth.
Another tool, maybe one people don't think about consciously, is just using your eyes and ears, the power of observation.
Absolutely. Your surroundings are a gold mine. Before you even dip into your toolkit, just look around. What are they wearing? Holding? Doing? What's happening nearby? That's a really cool watch. Does it have a story? Or, wow, that painting is striking. What do you think of it? These openers feel natural, authentic, because they come from the shared moment. Shows you're present.
And even before you utter a single word, your body is talking. So mastering body language is key too. Sets the whole tone.
It really does. There's a nice acronym for this. SAFE. S is for smile. Just a genuine, gentle smile. Makes you look approachable. A is for arms uncrossed. Keep them open, relaxed. Crossed arms literally create a barrier. F is for forward lean. Just a slight lean towards them shows you're engaged. And E is for eye contact. This needs balance, right? The 50-70 rule is a good guide. Make eye contact about 50% of the time when you're talking, maybe 70% when you're listening. Look away briefly now and then so it doesn't feel like staring. Get these safety basics down and you're sending all the right signals.
Right, mindset's getting there, arsenal stocked, safe approach noted. So now what? How does this actually look when you take the plunge? Let's get into the actual strategies.
Okay, execution time. An opener isn't just one magic line. It's usually a quick three-step thing. 1, the approaching greeting. Eye contact, smile, simple, hi or hello. 2, the opening line. Pull something from your observation or your small talk toolkit. 3, the follow-up. Crucial step. Acknowledge what they said, then ask another question or add a quick related comment to keep it rolling, like at that coffee station. Hi, this coffee is much needed today, isn't it? They agree. Totally. Which talk were you just in? I just came from the AI one. See? It flows.
That flow is key. And there's a method people talk about, the AR method from Jordan Harbinger. Sounds like a really solid structure for almost any opener.
Yeah, RE is great because it's so adaptable. A is anchor. Find something you both share right there, right then, an observation. R is reveal. Share a tiny bit about yourself related to that anchor. It's a thought, an opinion. Makes it a two-way street. E is encourage. Ask an open-ended question to get them talking. So at a concert, anchor. Wow, the energy in here is amazing. Reveal. I wasn't sure what to expect, but this band is incredible live. Encourage. What's been your favorite song so far? Anchor, reveal, encourage. Simple structure, very effective.
Okay, so R gets you started. What about keeping it going beyond small talk? The FAR method comes up a lot for that, right? Like a roadmap for deeper conversation.
Form is a classic for a reason. It gives you 4 broad areas to explore gently. F is family. Keep it general. Do you have family nearby? Or similar. O is occupation. What sort of work do you do? Pretty standard, easy topic. R is recreation. Hobbies, fun stuff. What do you like to do when you're not working? M is motivation. This can go a bit deeper. Why are they passionate about their job or hobby? What sparked your interest in hobby field? But remember, it's a guide, not a checklist to tick off. Be genuinely curious. Follow where the conversation leads.
And something that always works, if done right, a genuine, specific compliment. That can be a real golden key.
Totally. But the key is specific and genuine, not just nice shoes. Those are great boots. They look really comfortable too. Where did you find them? See? Specific adds a positive assumption, ends with a question. Or after a presentation. That was really insightful. The way you broke down the market trends was super clear. Follow up. How do you stay so up to date on all that? Compliment plus question equals conversation starter.
Okay, here's a slightly counterintuitive one. Asking for a small favor. The Ben Franklin effect. How does that work?
It's neat psychology. When someone does you a small favor, like, excuse me, could you reach that book for me? Or do you happen to know what time it is? Their brain kind of justifies doing the favor by thinking, well, I must like this person, otherwise it wouldn't have helped. It makes them feel good, helpful, and subtly more positive towards you. So asking for a tiny, low-effort favor can actually be a great way to break the ice. Just make sure it is small and easy. Then you can use their help as a springboard. Thanks so much, you're a lifesaver. Are you heading to the next event place too?
And just as vital as starting well is ending well. Graceful exits. Nobody wants to get stuck or leave someone awkwardly hanging.
It's so true. Plan your exit. Signal it politely. Well, it's been really great chatting with you, but I should probably catch up with my friend over there.
Yeah.
Or I've got to run, but it was lovely meeting you. Always good to add a positive note about the conversation. And if you do want to connect further, that's the moment. Would you be open to connecting on LinkedIn? Or maybe we could grab coffee sometime next week. A smooth exit leaves a good final impression.
Okay, wow, that's a lot of practical strategies. But you wouldn't use the same approach at a formal work event as you would at a relaxed barbecue, right? Context is everything.
Absolutely critical. You need to read the room, understand the situation. Our sources often highlight 4 main contexts: professional, social, everyday, and academic. Each has different goals, tones, and safe topics.
Let's take the professional setting first. Networking events, conferences, the office maybe. Goal is rapport, exchanging info. Tone is polite, warm, but professional.
Exactly. Safe topics. Their role, the industry, the event itself, maybe general positive trends. So you might say, hi, great session, wasn't it? I found the points on topic really interesting. I work in your field. What about you? What brings you here today? Focus is generally on work-related connections.
Okay, contrast that with a social setting. Parties, get-togethers. Goal is fun, making friends. Tone is much more relaxed, casual.
Totally different vibe. The number one opener here, how do you know the host?
Yeah.
It's almost always relevant and creates instant common ground. So, hey, great party. I'm name. How do you know host's name? From there, you can branch into hobbies, travel, weekend plans, lighter topics.
Then there's the everyday setting. Quick interactions. Cafe line, waiting for a bus, gym. Low pressure, brief connection is the goal.
Yeah, keep it light, very casual, and usually brief. Focus on the shared immediate situation. In line. Excuse me, have you tried their scones? They look amazing, but I always get the muffin. Or at the gym. Sorry, you finished with this machine? Quick, easy, friendly.
And finally, academic settings. University, language class. Goal might be study partners, friendships. Tone is often a blend, sort of professional social.
Right, you can talk about the course, the homework, campus events. After class, phew, that lecture was intense. Did you catch everything about difficult topic? My notes are a mess. That could lead to, maybe we could compare notes sometime. Or form a study group. Being able to adapt like this shows social intelligence, and that itself makes you feel and seem more confident.
This is all incredibly useful. But, like you said earlier, knowing isn't the same as doing. Reading about swimming won't teach you to swim. Practice is key. Let's talk about turning theory into habit.
Exactly. This is where the rubber meets the road. And the biggest mistake is waiting for some big, high-stakes event to try things out. That's like learning to swim in the deep end during a storm. You need low-stakes practice, daily. Get in the shallow end.
The sources even suggest a kind of daily conversation challenge, right? To build that courage muscle bit by bit.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Like day 1, say, hi, how are you? To the cashier and actually listen to the answer. Day 2, ask the barista a simple question about the coffee. Day 3, comment on the weather to someone at the bus stop. Day 4, ask someone at the gym for help or offer a spot. Day 5, give one specific, genuine compliment. Day 6, try the A or E method once. Day 7, aim for 2 follow-up questions in a chat. These tiny interactions build up your tolerance for initiating, making it less scary over time.
And finding safe spaces to practice is important too, like language partners or conversation groups.
Hugely valuable. Places where mistakes aren't just okay, they're expected. Apps like Tandem, HelloTalk, italki are fantastic for finding partners online. Or look locally. Meetup.com, libraries, community centers often have conversation groups. The key is just doing it regularly. Consistency matters more than intensity here.
Another interesting practice technique is using media differently, not just watching or listening, but listening like a spy for conversation clues.
Yes. Don't just consume English media, analyze it. Listen to interview podcasts. How does the host start? How do they follow up? Watch TV shows, especially scenes with social interaction. Notice the small talk, the body language. How do people handle pauses? You can even try shadowing, pausing dialogue and repeating it aloud, trying to match the intonation. Reality TV, the more natural kind, can be great for seeing how conversations ebb and flow organically. It trains your ear for the rhythm.
And to really cement the learning, reflection seems key, like having a quick debrief with yourself after a conversation.
Definitely. Just 5 minutes. No judgment. Just curiosity. Ask yourself, what went well? What felt tricky? What could I try next time? Did I learn anything interesting about them? Writing it down briefly helps solidify it. Turns every interaction into a mini lesson.
And maybe the most crucial part of making this stick, celebrate every small win.
Yes. This is basic positive reinforcement. Your brain loves rewards. So you managed to say hello to someone new. Mentally give yourself a high five. Yes, did it. Had a 2-minute chat. Acknowledge it. Maybe treat yourself to something small. Survived a networking event. Feel proud of your courage. When you celebrate the effort, you associate starting conversations with positive feelings, not just fear. That creates a loop that makes you want to do it again.
Wow. We've covered a lot of ground, from getting inside our own heads about fear, all the way to practical things like body language, exit lines, and daily practice. It really hammers home that starting conversations confidently in English isn't some magic gift, it's a skill.
Absolutely. And like any skill, it's built layer by layer. It starts with self-compassion, changing how you define success, embracing mistakes. It's supported by preparation, having your toolkit ready. It comes alive with strategies, knowing how to open and connect. It gets refined by context, adapting your approach. And it becomes second nature through practice, consistent, low-stakes effort, turning into lifelong habit.
So that journey of 1,000 conversations, it really does begin with just one word. That knot of anxiety you feel, it might not vanish completely, but now you have tools to loosen it. You have a map. You have the power to act despite it. So take that breath, stand tall, offer that small, genuine smile, and just step forward. The world is packed with interesting people just waiting. All you really need to do is say hello. Go on, take that first step.